Welcome to A Comic a Day, and this month we are celebrating the birth month of my favorite comic book company, Aftershock Comics. They turned 2 this year, and my god has it been an absolutely brilliant 2 years since. But you'll see what I mean this month. As always, links to buy these comics are in the description, and become a patron to help support the Comic Archivist family of channels. Warning, massive spoilers are massive this month. On with the show. Dreaming Eagles number 4, A Horse and a Half. The P-51 Mustang, one of the best aircraft not only of World War II, but would become the standard until jet fighters came into the scene during the Korean War. But the ones that Reggie and the new 332nd have are a bit special. They've got red painted tails so that people will remember the red-tailed angels of Tuskegee. They get their specs on the Mustangs like top speed, aerials, and all that, and boy were they happy. But getting used to them was going to be tricky. They lost 2 of their own men just during the conversion training over to the Mustangs from the P-40s, with Lee trying to say that must have been the Air Force trying to get rid of the darkies, but Reggie tells him to cool his jets, cause then you'd have to explain away why white squadrons went through the same problems, especially during conversion to new aircraft. It was the harsh truth of war. They were told to get into these new planes, get used to them with new basic training as quickly as possible, and ship right back off to war. It was cold, but it was what they signed up for. After conversion, they're escorting some bombers into German territory when they finally get to test out their new Mustangs against the Krauts. Old Reggie gives a quick point that those were the people definitely trying to get rid of them. And the flashback to this dogfight is just pretty breathtaking to watch play out, with both seeing the calls being made in the air, and old Reggie peppering in some comparisons between the Mustang and the 190s. However, even if the Mustangs made it so that they were the top dogs now, they were still just running escort for bombers, so they had to stick to formation even if the Krauts were running away with their tails between their legs. And that was July 18th, 1944, the first time all 4 squadrons of the 332nd fought the enemy together, and kicked some serious butt doing it. When they get back to base afterwards, they see Davis talking with the man in glasses, but still no breaks in that mystery. Old Reggie does say that Davis always had an eye on the brass, and that with the Red Tails under his command, he definitely got more points for his reputation, since racking up kills was something good. If you had a squadron with a nearly perfect record of protecting bombers, that was something truly special. More bombs on the ground means a bigger strike than just winning dogfights, after all. On their next flight out, Reggie's plane gets damaged by friendly fire. He limps back to base and is kinda pissed off, but then a congressman asks if he has problems flying with other American units. The congressman is definitely on a pretty specific fact-finding mission, but Fats covers for the friendly fire, saying that the P-51 shares similarities with the Messerschmitt 109, so it is just a standard hazard until the bombers get used to the new Mustangs. However, the congressman is fishing for some racial facts, as he keeps poking that surely they shouldn't like flying alongside Americans, with Reggie countering that they are Americans too, so what the hell. But of course the congressman is fishing for some, man, Whitey sure does suck, or generally some complaints to bring back to Congress. But Reggie puts it best to the congressman to pretty much shoo him off. America can get better, Germany can't. Which is actually kind of hilarious in hindsight. But the men of the 332nd are steadfast with saying that they do have it better than what they're fighting against, and the congressman shrugs and walks away. But it was all just condescension with a pistol to their head, basically. Lee interrupts to say that he does believe that America can change, but it has to be made to change. Yet Reggie says that he's the one telling the story, so shush. And that's where the issue ends. Ultimately, this issue was much better than the last one. I know, the first half seems to just be military porn for the P-51 Mustang, which isn't bad because it puts into context the fact that Davis and the 332nd were actually moving up in the world. Plus, I love the fact that they got their red tails in this, because that's how I've always known the Tuskegee Airmen, or at least before I even knew they were from Tuskegee and all that. But it's not just that. We have a big character moment for Reggie and Fats, basically defending their place in the Air Corps, not with saying that they deserve it, they're showing that blacks can do it, but just like when Garthinas wrote Davis defending them to Congress, they shrug off the friendly fire to say that they are Americans, and do ignore the fact that they aren't typical airmen by saying that America entrusts a lot in them, ranging from the Mustangs to even flying escort for bombers. It's just the best foot forward in that scenario. But of course, Lee interrupting the story at the end to try and and push his own ideology to me sort of says that he wasn't listening, because frankly, Reggie's tale has been the story of how he and the Red Tails did make America change, at least in the military environment at the beginning. So come back tomorrow as we reach the second to last issue of this infotainment comic. See you then. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Check out my other two channels, Comic Archivist and ComicSins. Become a patron to get to choose the next comics we do for Comic a Day, as well as ComicSins. And as always, stay golden, Inklings.
Watch the skyways, or the land and the sea, are ready to fly.